Of course, when Bobby Brewster was a very small boy, he used to wear nightshirts. He didn't like them very much, though. He thought his father's pyjamas were much smarter. So one day he asked his mother if she would buy him some pyjamas. "When you grow out of your nighties," said Mrs. Brewster, "we'll go to the shop and you can choose some pyjamas yourself." So they did. The man in the shop was a very nice man, and Bobby had met him before. "Good morning, sir," he said. "Good morning," said Bobby Brewster. "I should like to see some pyjamas, please." "Certainly, sir," said the man, and took out a drawer and put it on the counter. There were all sorts of pyjamas, big ones, small ones, blue ones, red ones, and Bobby took quite a long time to choose. In the end, he took a red pair, a green pair, and a blue pair, all with lovely stripes on them, just like his father's. In fact, they were so like his father's that when they got home, Mrs. Brewster sewed tabs on all the jackets and trousers with Bobby Brewster on them, so that Mr. Brewster would never put them on by mistake. That night, when Bobby went to bed, he was so proud of his pyjamas that he slept with one arm over the bedclothes so that everyone could see his sleeve. Well, for about a week, everything was very nice. Bobby wore his blue pair of pyjamas, and he went to bed nice and early every night, because he was so anxious to put them on. When he got up each morning, he folded them very neatly and put them under the pillow, just as his mother had told him. Then a funny thing happened. One night, when Mrs. Brewster was putting Bobby to bed, she couldn't find his pyjama jacket. The trousers were there under the pillow, but the jacket had completely disappeared. "Where on earth has it got to?" said Mrs. Brewster. "Well, I'm sure I folded it this morning and put it under the pillow," said Bobby. They looked everywhere, but there was no sign of that jacket. Mrs. Brewster had just decided to get another pair of pyjamas out of the drawer when there was a loud knock at the front door. Mrs. Brewster ran downstairs, and there on the doorstep stood a large policeman. "Does Master Bobby Brewster live here?" asked the policeman. "Yes," said Mrs. Brewster. "He's my son." "Is this his property?" said the policeman. "And do you know what he held out in his hand?" "Bobby Brewster's pyjama jacket." "Well," said Mrs. Brewster, "wherever did you find that?" "On the grass, outside your front gate," said the policeman. "What an extraordinary thing," said Mrs. Brewster. "Thank you very much indeed. We were just looking for it. Won't you come in and have a cup of tea?" "Well, I am a bit thirsty," said the policeman, and in he came. The pyjama jacket was quite clean, so Mrs. Brewster aired it in front of the fire and then finished putting Bobby to bed while the kettle was boiling. Then she made a lovely cup of tea and some sandwiches. "Thank you very much," said the policeman. "My word, what lovely sandwiches! They're my favourites." Can you guess what was in them? Sardines. Well, the next evening, when Bobby went upstairs to bed, another funny thing happened. This time his pyjama trousers were missing. "Well, this really is absurd," said Mrs. Brewster. "I know they were under the pillow this time because I saw them there myself this morning." They searched and searched, but no pyjama trousers could be found. Then there was a loud barking outside. Bobby ran over to the window, and what do you think he saw? There was Tipsy, the dog, running round the lawn very excited, and can you guess what he was running after? Bobby's pyjama trousers. "Look at this, Mother," shouted Bobby. But the pyjama trousers couldn't run very fast, and by the time Mrs. Brewster had got to the window, Tipsy had caught them and was carrying them in his mouth. Mrs. Brewster called Tipsy inside the house, and of course the poor little dog couldn't understand why she called him a bad dog. She thought he had just been playing with the pyjama trousers. It never occurred to her that they had been running away from him. Anyway, they were quite clean, so Bobby put them on and went to bed. When his mother had tucked him up and he was alone, he said to himself, "I think these must be magic pyjamas." At least, he thought he said it to himself, but he can't have done, because a voice answered, "We are magic pyjamas." "Well, I never did," said Bobby Brewster. "So you can talk as well as walk." Yes, said the pyjamas. I wish you wouldn't go for walks at my bedtime, said Bobby. We're very sorry, said the pyjamas, but we thought that if one of us, either the jacket or trousers, stayed on duty in your room, it'd be enough. Well, I'm afraid it isn't, said Bobby. And anyway, what do you want to go out in the garden for? Your pyjamas. That's the whole point, said the pyjamas. We felt we simply had to go outside just for a change. Why? Said Bobby. Well, perhaps we had better explain, said the pyjamas. When we were in the shop, we used to talk with all the other clothes, and the shirts and socks used to brag about how someone would buy them and take them to the pictures, or the park, or somewhere really exciting like that. So, of course, we were very anxious for someone to buy us, and when you came along, we quite liked the look of you, and we were very excited when you took us home. But what happened? We didn't go to the pictures or anywhere at all. You put us on and went straight to bed. Well, of course I did, said Bobby Brewster. Your pyjamas. That's what you're for. Yes, but that's not all, said the pyjamas. When you got up every morning, you folded us up and put us straight under a pillow. Well, I was only trying to be tidy, said Bobby. That's all very well, said the pyjamas. How would you like to be down a bed all night and under a pillow all day? Not much, said Bobby. What would you like me to do about it? Wear you outside? Oh, no, not now, said the pyjamas quickly. We've had enough of outside, thank you. It seems you either get arrested by a policeman or chased by a dog. Do you think you could arrange not to put us under the pillow when you get up, but somewhere where we can have a look round? Of course I can, said Bobby Brewster. Thank you very much, said the pyjamas. So now, every day, Bobby carefully folds his pyjamas and puts them on top of his pillow near the window. And if it is a nice warm day and are not damp, he even puts them on the windowsill, where they can see right into the garden. And you know, from that day to this, or rather from that night to this, Bobby has slept beautifully in his pyjamas and had the loveliest dreams.